And then I'm going to, right now it says we're preparing to go to do the live stream. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to hit record to this computer.
Got it.
And then make sure, okay. Why are we in, that is a weird
Sound.
thing. There is some growing pains here. So, okay. So what I'm going to do instead of, I don't know why my YouTube channel is going this. Okay. Oh, here we go.
That usually happens with technology.
Yeah, I just had to hit play. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute here, so we don't have to worry about that. Hi, my name is Steve Brock. I am a producer, writer, director, actor, creative, and I have been involved in several different film festivals over the past year with a film that I've produced called Echoes of Kerberos, and I decided to get into the other side of the business because I'm really fascinated with the ability to tell a story with under 10 minutes. So I started the Nickel and Dime Film Festival that goes monthly, and I have invited certain people that I find their films to be amazing to sit with me and interview with me. And I'd like you to, I'm introducing you to this wonderful filmmaker who created this amazing animated film, Nicolas Villarreal. Welcome to my channel. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Like I said, there's some growing pains. This won't be my final setup. This is I'm not really sure how this is going to turn out, and maybe I'll edit this later and repost it to my YouTube channel. But I'm hoping some people will come onto my channel that I know that can actually watch this live. So, Nicolas, does it matter how you do you go by Nick? How do you go by?
I usually go by Nico. That's what my friends call me. So you can call me Nico if you want. Or
Nico, great. It's nice to meet you, Nicolas or Nico. So I'm going to take this here to, where are we going? Mac Mini speaker. That's not what I want. And well, why are we not? Forgive me, Nico. Just 1 second. I'm going to do it a little quick. Wondering why I'm not connected.
Well, that usually happens with technology. Right, something happens.
So, 1 second. Yes, there we go. Wonderful. So now I should be able to hear you better. So, Nico. So again, it's nice to meet you. And why don't you tell me something about your film? What was your process? What was your idea, your inspiration to create this film?
Well, I always been very interested in the relationship between talent, hard work, and success. And that's something that I had in my mind for the longest time. Thinking people that I admire, I admire profoundly people that are hard workers, dedicated, and competitive. And I was looking at the relationship between that and success. And on the other side, I kept seeing, not only in everyday's life, including myself, how we work with the phone or we use it for leisure, and around in meetings, and when I take, like, I don't know, the bus before COVID or subway here in San Francisco, how some people would use their phone for playing games, which is fine, or some people, they would be reading the newspaper. And it's all how it's in context. Because I was thinking you can see someone that is on their phone playing a game, and instantly you think, well, maybe that person could be something else. But maybe that person came from studying or working 12 hours, and that little break of half an hour, it could be the break mentally they play something,
Right.
and vice versa. And I like that ambiguity as well. And I teach. One of the things I love. I love making films, but I love teaching as well. I think it gives you a great connection with not only with students, but there's an energy that happens in the classroom that I love when I was as a student and as a teacher. And I remember I tell my students, I teach character design for
Right.
films, animated films, and we have a live model. So we draw from the model. The model takes it's 20 minutes. The post is 20 minutes, and then 5 minutes for a break. And in those 5 minutes, some of my students they go and they check Instagram or Facebook or video games, and I tell them just wait. In those 5 minutes, keep drawing because those 5 minutes at the end of the day they add up. And I remember I was walking and I saw one student that she had her phone out, and I was ready to give her my little speech. Um, but thank God I didn't, because when I walked close by, she was looking at drawings of Glenn Keane, which is a phenomenal, one of my favorite animators, and she was trying to replicate and imitate the same line quality of Glenn Keane in her drawing. She was studying from the phone, and at the same time, I saw another student that he was playing some, I don't know, some game, and I spoke with him, but I saw that contrast of two possible different paths.
Oh wow, that's it's super interesting. I really like that, especially your perspective of coming from being a teacher. My mother was a teacher. I consider myself an instructor. I'm often instructing on various different kinds of things. How long have you been a teacher?
I've been teaching for 12, 13 years.
And do you teach primarily arts, or do you teach anything else? I mean, I noticed from your domain at your email that you work for an arts school. Is that correct?
Yeah, I teach, and I'm the executive art director of traditional animation and visual development at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, which is the place, my alma mater, where I did my master's in 21 years ago. That's when I entered the program.
Wow, that's just incredible. And what range of kids do you teach?
I teach usually I teach undergrad and grad students. I teach character design, which is a third year pre-advanced class for character design. And then I teach the group directed studies that we work on the thesis projects of the films of the students, which is something that I love, which because I get to meet with them and
That's wonderful.
I help them with their vision to make a successful film in terms of the story. Then they add all these their hard work and their magic to make it beautiful on their own with their own voice.
That's very fascinating. So one of the things I really enjoyed about your film is how I was able to tell a full story without dialogue. I find that kind of a performance from either an actor or from piece of animation or from any form of visual media to be kind of powerful. And if if it's done correctly, and I find that created such a interesting relationship with artists that you admire clearly, with the concept of what would happen to these artists if they were in the modern world, um, distracted by our distractions, and and how they were able to stick closer to their art, and and occasionally maybe have a break from that, but mostly it was the dangers of over the dopamine rush of getting the likes, which is one of the things that the visual that I saw from this was really interesting about how you use that like emoji, um, the that to so many people of, and it doesn't even really matter how many how old one is now. That uh, the social media just really delivers that dopamine rush that some people are just in so much in need of. I personally am neurodivergent. I'm on the spectrum of the serotonin spectrum, where I have certain chemical things that where my my system doesn't create enough dopamine sometimes. So, but as an artist, it's a real balance. So how do you balance work, art, and that that human need to connect?
Um, I think that's something that, especially through the last 2 years, everyone struggled a lot. And when you're isolated, I mean, the phone is the only connection that you have to the outside world and stay in touch with friends. So to me, it was at the beginning. I think I was better at the beginning. I went through phases, but I always been very focused on discipline on my work. But sometimes, when you're isolated, I found myself just going on the phone, and the only silver lining, or maybe like an excuse that I would find to get that, I'm not sure if it's a rush or something when you go into social media, is that you can look at other artists and you can use that to learn, or to have your work being influenced by other artists, directors, actors, actresses, producers. I love looking at interviews. I love reading quotes from interviews. There are a couple of Instagram pages that I follow. I'm not sure if I can send the name, but they're about screenwriters and producing and directors that are great. And when I go there, I feel a little better. That I'm in social media, but I'm trying to learn something. It's not always like that, though.
Right. No, it's not always like that. I mean, I follow some actors that I respect and some people online, and I've been able to sometimes interact with some of these people who I respect who are currently working in the industry, really getting to learn their process. And even though technically I am on Twitter or wherever, I'm able to use that social media to really expand my horizons and learn more. So I understand how you feel about that.
But it can be very
When I watch
useful.
things like Inside the Actor's Studio,
Yeah,
yeah, it could be very useful. Especially, as you see, the thing is that I've always been of the mind that we're never finished learning. There's an old
me too.
saying, and it could be a Confucius saying, "A wise man realizes he has more to learn, and a fool thinks he knows it all."
Yeah.
And I
Mm.
think that
Mm.
the true artist is constantly honing and learning, and it's sharpening their tools, shall we say. So do you feel like, so
To me, it's
what do you,
learning.
oh yeah,
Like
so
you
what do
just
you
said.
do to, I'm sorry?
Sorry, I think we have a delay. That's exactly what you said. Just being, but learning, you need to be open to learn. You have to be open to absorb as much as you can. That's something that I love.
It's fast.
Mm.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
no, go ahead. What are you saying?
No, I find it fascinating when educators realize that they still need education, and that's very fascinating to me too. And so, but go back to what you were saying because I jumped in again. ADHD. Sometimes I just jump in. So,
I,
tell me more.
I used to have one of my favorite teachers when I was in school. Her name was Barbara Bradley. And I remember she would say things, but she said something that stuck with me. And my parents are like that. My parents always taught me since I was a kid, and I saw them doing this. You lead by example, but their willingness, well, their hard work and how they will learn constantly. And I remember Barbara said something. We were 20 students, and she said, in this classroom, we're all students. I am a student too. I'm 20 years ahead of you in learning, but I'm still a student. And that's a mindset you guys need to have. You will always keep learning, and it's crucial because you can see your work evolve with that. And once you are open to learn, once, and I tell this to my students, once you're open to learn, you don't see anything as a threat, because now it's a possibility that you can incorporate it in your work. And I look at different directors, and I'm researching for my next film, not right now, for the last 2 months. And I look at different directors, and I go and I've been downloading a bunch of shots and reference. And I look at a shot and I go, man, that's an incredible shot. I need to try to understand why this director did this and how they're incorporating, and I want to incorporate it. And doing the research. I mean, I love every step of making films, even the frustrated steps, which are a lot. You know, that there are some parts of when you're making a film that it's like, man, and you always like, why did I start this? But I love that frustration, because working through that frustration is very satisfying once the film is completed. But you need to work it through. And
Right.
the more I learn, the more I observe and I learn, I realize that it's something that it doesn't matter of the scale of the films or the scale of the directors. We all go through the same thing, which is crazy. I've seen directors, like, I don't know, in interviews of documentaries, like Steven Spielberg, David Fincher, Villeneuve, like frustrated at shots, and I go like, how? And it's because it's a feeling that you have inside that doesn't matter. Which is it's crazy that we all of us go through the same thing, regardless of the size of the production.
Right. Now I also, going back to you talking to your students about being open to learn. I also am fascinated, and I respect a lot of educators who realize anyway that they have room to learn from their own students. Oftentimes with me, because I've had a life experience that maybe my teacher may not have had, and if an educator is open to new ideas that may move some of their sometimes they moves them a little bit to understanding more of their own craft or their own subject that they're teaching, etc. And I find that fascinating that you feel that way. But I would like to talk about um, being an animator and being an animation. In fact, I've noted you were about how directors set up shots, and usually the photographer with very much like you were directing and shooting your own, being setting up your own shots is something that not a lot of big directors get to do specifically. They work with the director of photography, and then they
Yeah.
later on they work with an editor, etc. In your case, and I'd imagine in a lot of independent animation, the all those jobs are yours. So how do you wear those hats? When you write, you direct, you produce, you edit, and um, at what point are you able to remove hats, put the hats back on as you go, or are you always in the mix, trying to get everything you want from? Are you editing as you shoot, as you go along the way when you set up your shots, when you're storyboarding, or however your process is that something that you find difficult or easy to do?
It's I learned, this is my on off is my fifth film. I did 4 in animation and 1 in live action short films. And I've been learning over the years. I love every aspect of the production, but I learned the first film, Pasteurized. I'm a trained animator and designer for films. I design characters for films and video games, and I'm a traditional animator. But with Pasteurized, it made me think more as a director, as an animator. An animator wants to get the most beautiful shot in terms of movement. A director in the shot needs to make sure that the shot is a link that illustrates the story for the next shot, which sometimes they don't go hand in hand, because it can be, the animation cannot be confusing even though you're showing beautiful movement. I think when I'm making my films, I never remove the hat of the director, even though I'm animating. I set up storyboarding at the beginning, and I look at a lot of shot reference. When I do the storyboard, you're like a director of photography, and I love that part. But then once we do the storyboard, I usually work with a background artist. Sometimes for on-off, I did the backgrounds by myself, because I already knew the shot that I wanted. And if you notice, the backgrounds are flat.
Yeah.
They have a perspective that's an optical illusion that will never work in the real world, because if you have, like, if this is a table and I have my phone here, right? The table actually in an office like this, and the phone is like this, which will fall. And once I do the animatic, the editing, it's always done at the beginning of the film. Then when we go into the editing room, we look at the animatic and we cut things here and there. But the film, there's a quote that I love, and I keep I'm not sure if it haunts me, but I have in my head since I heard from Alfred Hitchcock, that says, "My movies are done before I make them." And I remember shooting, we shot a film in live action pre-COVID in Argentina, and I approached it as if it would be an animated film. I did the storyboards, we have an animatic, and then when I spoke with the actor and the actress, I told them, this is the script, these are the shots. If you want to do some improv, go for it, but make sure the improv supports the character and where that shot is going. And if you want to go around, just make sure you end up linking to the next shot. And one of the things that
do you to interrupt that just real quick? Do you one scene as is, and then you shot more with the actors improvising?
No, I gave them more freedom, because usually we do a couple of shots of the same scene. And sometimes the actor, like last time, the actor told me, no, we can do another one. I have this idea. And he ran it by me. It's like, just go with it. And if in the middle, you feel like you need to go in another direction, just go with it to see where it goes. And it really added much more to the script and to the film, supporting the original story, which is very important to me. And it led into the next shot, which was something that I loved about live action. Another thing that I loved about live action was that at one point we had to shoot, and I was on my knee scene where I wanted to put the camera, and the DP comes to me and goes, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm not sure if we need to shoot from here or from here." And he goes, "Let's shoot it. It's gonna take literally 3 seconds." But in my mind, in animation, those 3 seconds, it takes like a month to do 3 seconds of one here or over there. Right. But I would say my training in animation is, to me, very helpful, because I go into a film with as much information that as I can and as I need to make sure that everything is laid out. And then everything is much easier, because then we have some room for improv and, of course, suggestions, but we have a blueprint.
That's so fascinating. I mean, so right now I'm trying to bring up your trailer. Your trailer is located on your Film Freeway account, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we can show the trailer, but we cannot show the film because it's still in film festivals.
No, of course not. Of course. but I was thinking that I could show off your trailer, and let me go to last season, and I'm going to go to your thing just to be sure. So the thing that you have on your up here is your trailer, correct?
Correct.
Great. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share this. Uh, One second, please. And then I'm going to share screen here. I'm going to go to here just for a minute.
Careful, because Steve, this is the film.
This is the film. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
1 second. I stopped. And then make sure I hit the, forgive me. I'm going to go find, there it is.
There it is.
Copy that. I appreciate you catching me.
Yeah, and I like this framing better with the white around.
Oh yeah. I mean, just the trailer itself is so powerful itself. So I really, there is an to me there's an art to this, and I just love it. So I'm going just when you're producing your own show, it's not always the easiest, but I'm going
No,
to
it's not.
stop share there. There we go. Anyway, so that is on off. It's a great film. Um, and before we go off, I would like you to talk a little bit about what's coming up for you, and also focusing on the independent creator and how I'm fascinated with how technology is doing this, and I sense very strongly that you use quite wonderful technology to do this. But also, what's coming up for you? What's in your if there are any more films that you have coming up, and anything else you'd like to promote.
Thank you. We're working on right now. Two things. I wrote a screenplay 5 years ago about a feature film, and we're working on the trailer, which is 3D animated,
Nice.
and we're going to start animation production in March. We have all the models done, and we are rigging and texturing the characters. And I have started the storyboard. One of the things that give me the most peace is the moment I finish a film, is to try to start the next one. Either I'm doing research or some sketches, and I already have the idea and story in my mind, kind of. And I started doing the storyboards. So hopefully, I'm very excited because when you see that something can come to life. And this one, I think I need to cut the animatic maybe in the next 2 weeks. I'll be able to have the first cut of the animatic, and then usually I run into with a couple of friends to see what do they think, people that I trust, that they have a very keen eye for story. And once I lock that in, I think we can start working on the film in February.
That's incredible. That's incredible. It's always about what's next, right?
Yeah, and
once you've finished, you have to move on.
It's incredible. Yeah, maybe this happens to you too. With other directors that I speak in animation or doing short films, is the moment you finish a film. I love making films from the beginning to the end.
Mm-hmm.
I love when the finish is done, obviously, but when the finish is done, I crave that creative, not only creative but production timeline. That I need the next one,
Right.
and start animating or even storyboard the next film. It gives me that peace to move into the next project.
Wow. Nico, it's just again, I'm a judge for the Sherwood Players International Film Festival. Um, are, and are you in Argentina right now, or are you in
No,
California now?
I'm in San Francisco, and next week
Okay.
I'll be in LA, and I'm going to Argentina for the holidays by the end of December.
Oh, wonderful. So, I'm gonna be in at the Another Hole in the Head Festival. My film is over there, and it's in San Francisco
When?
this weekend. This weekend on the 5th. So maybe we can hook up and say hi in person when I'm out there.
I would
But
love to.
also, you're gonna be in town for in LA. Maybe you'll be in town for the festival on the 9th for Sherwood Players. Are you gonna
Yeah,
be able to come?
where if you send me the information,
No,
I will be in
actually,
LA.
I saw your tickets purchased. That's incredible, man.
I would love
Truth
to
is,
come.
I've s- I've seen some really great films through the process of being in festivals and also judging festivals that I really know true piece of art when I see one. And you do have this thing to say, which which I have just to leave this with you before we head out. My I have a saying about arts is that a doctor or a scientist really their job is to try to save the world often or affect the world on a macro basis. And if they get to help one person, that's kind of icing for them. Is that they they hope that they can affect a lot of people, and even if they affect just a few people, that's okay. But they want to affect a lot of people. My feeling as an artist is that we hope we can affect a lot of people, but if we can just change one person, then we've done our job.
Yeah,
And that's the job of an artist
and
of
every
any kind of art.
time,
I mean, any kind of
it,
art.
yeah, any kind of art, like for when at the beginning of the interview, going back to the beginning, you told me that you love my film. I told you that means a lot, which is true. Everyone, because when you make a film or a painting, you're putting a part of you out there. And one of the things um, that I think that are more important for a director or an artist in general is to say something that they need to say for the purpose of saying it and never to seek the applause. Stay
Mm.
true to yourself and not seek anything else than what you want to tell. Which is it's terrifying, of course, because you're putting something out. And I know, and it happens a lot of times. Some people tell me, "No, I don't. I know it doesn't mean too much, but I love your films. Like that, it means a lot. You have no idea how much that means."
Right. Well, Nico, we're gonna head out, and at this point, it's my this video is going live on my YouTube channel, my own personal YouTube channel, and at some point, I may be creating a separate channel for these types of interviews. But um, this is just me having an idea and running with it,
Awesome.
letting the wind take me where it goes, uh, and I may also take because I'm recording this to my computer and maybe editing this slightly just to make it a little bit tighter. Just in terms of some of the talking at the beginning, maybe was a little. We didn't really get kicked in the interview right away, but we got this going. And what I really am happy that we got to meet, Nico.
Me too, Steve. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And again, my name's Steve Brock. This is how you close your typical YouTube thing. I'd like you to do me a favor if whoever's watching this, whoever gets a chance to watch this, Nico Villarreal is an amazing artist, but I'm going to be doing other interviews with other artists over time, people that submit to me to the festival, the Nickel and Dime monthly film festival. Uh, you, I'm promoting this because as an online festival, we're uh, we're not as promoted. It's hard to find necessarily, so a lot of this is word of mouth for me And my goal is to just learn from artists out there who have great work. And Nico, you were exactly one of those people.
Thank you so
And
much.
but as such, uh, anybody watching this, hopefully you are, like and subscribe. Send some comments down below. Again, if, Nico, spread it around. I'll keep this up for quite some time, and I'm just thrilled to converse with you for on a wonderful little Thursday afternoon.
Thank you very much, Steve. It was my pleasure too.
Yeah, and have a good day.
You too.
And Nico, just I stopped recording just so, but again, just personally, against the not recording this part again, um, was wonderful that you were able to take some time out of your day to talk with me, just learning about your process, really taking that next step for me because I was deeply affected by your film,
Really.
and because it again, like I said in the when we were recording, you told such a great story in such a small amount of time, and that's um, all the films that I've produced and written are smaller films. I mean, I'm working on a feature, but the like everyone is, but I find that it's if you can tell such a good tight story in under 10 minutes, um,
It's a challenge.
that's kind of that's a
Yeah.
challenge, but it's
Yeah.
amazing when you can. And you did
Yeah.
that. You were able to affect me in a way that that feature films can't, because you were able to tell the story so concisely and pointedly. And congratulations, man.
Thank you very much. That means a lot. And thank you so much for inviting me for this interview too. I
You're
mean,
welcome.
yeah.
You have a good day, Nico. And and maybe I'll see you in San Francisco, and I'll definitely see you at the Sherwood Festival.
Yeah, in LA on the
That'd be
night,
great.
if you send me the information, I want to come.
I think I believe if I'm going to go over to my thing. How do I close out of escape? Maybe. Yeah, that's how I do it. I'm going to go and open up my film freeway because I have both festivals. And I see under tickets that okay. So I don't see. Okay, do me a favor and open up your chat for a minute.
All right.
And see, the thing is, we're offering uh, the filmmakers um, just tickets to the festival. So I am. You should have gotten an email from one of our judges. If you hadn't yet, maybe check your spam filter. But I'm going to put this
Check the
link
ninth.
in the chat. Where are you at? Okay,
Please do.
right
Yeah, the
there.
ninth is next Thursday.
Next Thursday, yes. And then, um, Nico, I'm going to send you an email late because I want to check with the other organizers
Please do.
as to how I get your tickets to you. It's very likely there's a
Okay, no, but it's okay. I'll go by myself. I want to pay for the ticket. I mean, I haven't,
oh
I want to support the film festival. And because of COVID, one of the things, probably you too, one of the things I love the most is going to film festivals. And because of COVID, I only was able
me
to go to
too.
one.
Yeah. What's really interesting going to some of the festivals that I've been at is the Q&A afterwards, and we're going to be I believe we're running a Q&A after each of the we're having three different sort of blocks, but there's just breaks between it, and it's just one day. And then on Saturday, um, the everyone there's we're also having um, an award ceremony. And if you can be there Saturday, awesome. I mean, if you can't and you have to leave, we'll make sure that that you have you have what, honestly, I mean, between you and me, what you deserve is what you're going to get, and it's quite awesome for all of us to have watched your film.
I would love to go. I would love to go and hopefully do a Q&A and interact with people. That's one of the things I love the most. To me, film festivals are the Olympics of animation.
Q&A has always been wonderful for me too. Yeah, yeah, wonderful.
I'll see you next week then.